Good evening. It is Tuesday, 26th of September, 2023, and it has just gone 8:30 p.m. UK time. This is 45 Day Show 010. So that's 10. I can't believe this show's got to double digits already. I've had some brilliant guests, including Eddie P last week. This week, we had a brilliant chat about mental health and his big weekend coming up. And last weekend, I also was luckily enough to join up with Benny Gogz, and we collaborated on a We Love 45's Worthing, the first We Love 45's thing, and not just like an event, it was actually at a festival, Broadfest, and it was really fun to sort of work together. He did the hard work at his end, I did some promo stuff at this end to put it together and then see it happen, and then potentially be invited to get involved next year as well. So we thought we'd capture a little chat about that, but before we go further, here he is, Benny.
What's up, guys?
How you doing? You all right?
You all right?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm still buzzing from the weekend. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
went on that weekend anyway. Over and above Broadfest, but I think I'm only now starting to process how much fun that was and how great it was. Do you think so?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, it's one of those things. It's actually my wife suggested to me that she'd seen that Broadwater was doing, which is in Worthing where I live.
Yeah.
They got a big village green and they were doing a festival. My wife said, you really ought to get in touch with them and see if they can do anything with the 45 kids. You know,
Yeah.
she sort of saw that she could even see the selling point of the kids' angle on it. So that's how I approached it, really. I thought, well, if it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere, but you can give it a shot. So I just fired them an email on their Facebook page and didn't hear anything for ages and ages. And out of the blue, I got a message saying, yeah, okay, what are you thinking? And I just talked to them through it. And then we met up and yeah, it was a goer. And then there was the usual issues that they were coming up with, like, oh, have you got a tent? Or have you got this? And I told him exactly what I do have and what I don't have. And I was sort of thinking, this isn't going to work. But it all somehow managed to come together. And that's once I knew we had the date, that's when I thought, you know what, to make this a proper event, we really need to bring the 45 community together through the 45 kids. And that's how I got in touch with you, Criztoz, to see what sort of support we could get from the rest of them.
And it was cool, because I think sadly Double P could have done, but he couldn't quite make this one. So I was a bit disappointed that he couldn't make it. It was great to involve Ed Bond again, because he'd played at our Joy Revolution event earlier this year and been at a festival, and it was great to think he can get involved because I know he's brilliant vibes. And then obviously the Get It Together guys, who I think I originally got you in touch with, because it's again the links. We've got Constance in the chat. I'm going to say hello. We've got Ed and also Paul Sister.
Hey, Ed.
Constance, I think, got me in touch with you, and then I saw you at Worthing, and I got you in touch with the Get It Together, and then it's all sort of quite nice that we were all able to sort of DJ together at that event as well, over and above the kids, really.
Yeah, there's a long backstory about how I got into the 45s, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point, Criztoz.
Yeah, definitely.
But Adam, hey Adam.
Let's cut class as well. He's been on the show before, as has Constance, as has Ed. It's great. Everyone's been on the show before. Right, let's talk then about your background. Obviously, I ask all my DJ guests to sort of tell me about how they first got into music, whether it was parents, brothers, sisters, who got them into music. So from a first young age, who was it for you?
So, for a young age, my brother, he's 5 years older than me, and we used to be skaters and BMXers, things like that. So he was really into his metal. So he loved Iron Maiden, he loved Megadeth, all of these sorts of groups.
Right.
And I got really into that side of things. And one of the groups that I really loved was Anthrax. I don't know if you've heard of them before.
I've heard of them. The thing, I've never been. I've got friends who are into the heavy metal scene, and like my brother, and so I know these names, but I've never really spent any time listening to them.
Yeah, so it really started with heavy metal, but Anthrax did a collaboration with Public Enemy.
Right. Okay.
And then Public Enemy, I really got into Public Enemy, and that just exposed me into the whole hip hop and rap scene as well. So I've gone from heavy metal to rap. This is all when I was at high school, basically. So I was probably, 12, 13, 14, about my son's age, what he is now. But my brother was always well into it and all of that. So anyway, so to cut a long story short, where am I going with this? I used to sort of get some. I've got a bit of hip hop vinyl, not a lot, but I used that's what got me into buying vinyl. Really, is from that sort of time forward. So I've got a bit of metal, got a bit of hip hop, and then I just started. I went around my mate's house one year on his 16th birthday, and he had 2 belt drive turntables, not even DJ turntables, just 2 turntables and a mixer. And we were starting to get into our hardcore and times of Prodigy and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. And we were just banging Prodigy to SL2 and SL2 to Prodigy again over and over at his party. And I just fell in love with DJing at that point. And then that was it. I was buying Happy Hardcore records and getting into it and just trying to get into it. My dad already had a Technics turntable, which was an SL150. I don't know if anyone knows that brand of turntable, but Technics.
Yeah.
Basically, it looks like a 1200, but without the slide pitch. It's had these little pitch controls that are like little...
Okay, like little knobs rather than...
Yeah, little knobs.
And faders,
yeah.
But like you get on the PTO1 Scratch and some of the portable things. They've got little rotating things,
Yeah, so it's just like that, and like literally like to switch it from, it had a lever to switch it from 33 to 45. But the platter and the S arm was all the same, but it had this little weighted thing. It was a really good turntable. And then for my birthday, I got a made to fade mixer. I think everyone's had that made to fade mixer to start with. And then for probably after my birthday, Christmas, I got like a Sound Lab belt drive DJ turntable, which had the proper pitch control.
Yeah.
But you couldn't control it for Toffee. I had better control over with the Technics than I had with this belt drive. So, I was just DJing with that for ages and ages. Oh, look, the dog's coming up. Sorry, the dog's coming into play. Here we go. Here's Gertie.
He's been on before, I think. I think he might have been on when we did the 45 Kids talk show.
She has, yeah.
I'm going to pause you there. I'm going to pause you there. And this isn't set up in any way, what I'm going to show you. But I recently bought some records off a seller of Discogs, a new seller I hadn't known before, including this record, which you'll see why I'm pointing to it in a minute. And I was like, I'm buying a fair few records. We do free postage. And he's like, yeah. And then he said, whatever. And then he's like, I only live like 5 minutes walk away from your house. I was like, great. Okay, I'll come and pick him up. And I get there, and the front of his house is the downstairs main room. It's quite a big room, just records everywhere, like a record cleaner, a computer. And this is like his shop of records. I was like, that's crazy. But one of the records that I bought, you're not going to believe this, is Anthrax Bring the Noise.
Oh, yeah. And that's got Public Enemy. That's the collab.
Which is Public Enemy. And I'm, going on about Anthrax. And then you mentioned Public Enemy. And I was like, hold on. I haven't even listened to it yet. It's in this pile.
That's where it started, but I didn't have it on 45.
Bonkers. That is bonkers. Double P says hello. And as Constance says, what a small world. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if having a record dealer. I don't know if having a record dealer around the corner from my house is such a good idea, but I buy records, so right. So that's how you sort of started getting into DJing. Did that progress to then sort of doing events or getting gigs?
Yes, it did. So I was getting into at that point I was getting into my hardcore and going to raves and stuff, and I started to. There was a guy who had a shop in Worthing, in Warwick Street, and I used to buy my records from him, and he started up his own label and stuff. And there was another guy who was well into his drum and bass. Actually, there was a club in Worthing called The Factory that used to do quite good drum and bass nights. And there's a really quite well-known DJ back then called Quantum. Some people may have heard of DJ Quantum. But, we used to go and watch him play and all of those sorts of things. And then one thing leads to another. And, through that circuit, there was a guy that I was hanging out with quite a lot. He had a residency at a nightclub in Shoreham, which used to be called Shoreham by Cedars, in just outside Brighton. which was called Recessions, and he used to do. It was really commercial music. So we used to be well into our hardcore, but used to go into this club and just play commercial music.
Right.
And it was basically a throw-out nightclub from the bar. So everyone would be thrown out from the bars and then go into this nightclub for a bit of another hour or two's drinking before it shut at 2.
Yeah.
That kind of introduced me to that another genre of music. Not that I was interested in that genre of music at all, until I bought a track by DJ Sneak called, it was a Polyester EP, and it's called Show Me the Way. Basically, it was US house.
Right.
And it introduced me to that genre, US house, and I fell in love with it. So I've kind of progressed through the genres, and I just found that, and I thought, this is me. So it was back then, you used to have US house and garage, but it wasn't like the UK garage. It's garage. So you had house, which was your chunky beats.
Yeah.
And you had garage, which was more like, back then it would have been
There's more sort of female vocals and stuff, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly that. Like Gypsy Woman, that sort of stuff would have been classed as garage back then.
Yeah.
So that's what. Chicago house,
and obviously Constance being from Chicago as well.
Yeah. And then so we got a residency at a bar in Worthing through doing this, and playing stuff in Brighton as well. And then I had kids. I had to park it all. Decks went in the loft, and
well, at least they only went to the loft. At least,
yes, I didn't
at least you didn't sell them.
That was never on the agenda. They went in the loft, and we eventually moved to where we are now. We had to really push ourselves to kind of get this house, and then they came out of the loft and they came down to this shed that I now have, which
I've been to, and is very cool.
Yeah, so I've got a shed now where I can put all my records. My records aren't in a loft anymore, so I've got access to it again.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, a year, sort of the following summer, so we moved in the August, and the following July, my neighbour had a party. And he said, I know a couple of DJs that are coming as well. They're going to play some records. It'd be really good. I said, well, I've got some turntables. I'll just bring them round and they can work off those. He's like, cool, okay.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's how I met Constance and Adam. And both of them were playing 45s, and I was playing my house 12s. And I was thinking, this 45 thing looks pretty cool, actually. And I started sort of after that. I think Constance, actually, you might have given me some Star Creatures. So she gave me a little bit of a head start, to be honest.
Okay,
I couldn't afford the Star Creatures because I was on pocket money at that point. And then I found out that you can get some 45s quite cheap, like the price of a coffee or something like that. So whereas if you were buying 12 inches, you're looking at like 10, 15, 20 quid. You could get these for about 2-3 quid, and especially if you go to charity shops and whatnot. So that's how I got into 45s. Really, it was definitely through Constance and Adam, who are in the chat tonight. So thanks, guys. I think
because the thing I also like, and I talk about this when we talk about sort of the different ranges of 45s that people own in this community. Obviously, you've got the turntablists and sort of people who are doing like the edits and sort of the house stuff. Then you've got the sort of original vinyl only acts that are doing 60s, 70s, and they're quite expensive records, like 500 quid. Then you've got the Northern Soul. Those records are even more crazy expensive. But then you can also have people like you who can go into Music Mania in Worthing and like 5 quid for one of those brown bag and come out with like some absolute bangers.
Yeah.
And people be
it's
like,
amazing what you come out with.
Whatever, 50p or whatever it works out. Less than that.
Yeah. And I love it because, I mean, all the house music that I used to play, I mean, I was young and didn't really appreciate the origins of it. But since I've been started buying 45s, starting to find the original samples from those records. And I'll be honest, that's the buzz now for me. It's trying to find those samples that all these DJs used to basically rinse, like the Armand Van Helden track, which Sam Tweaks did a remix on. He's done
a reversion,
and by the way, that's an amazing remix that he done. But you know, I picked up the Carrie Lucas tune from, I think it was St. Barnabas, which is a local charity, for £2, and I was playing it. I was like, oh, this is a nice disco track. And then that riff came in. I was like, oh my God. You know, the penny drops. It's just like crazy. I also realized that, you remember that first house track that I bought that got me into house music, that DJ Sneak?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the disco loop in that was Michael Jackson, Show Me the Way. And I stumbled across that track and bought that home from Diane's, you know, in one of those brown bags, and put that on. I was like, instantly, I was like, unbelievable, you know, I fell in love with that. You know, so it's great when you find these original samples where you didn't know where when they sampled it from. That's what I love. For me, that's the buzz of buying the 45s now.
You should have a show. You should just have like a monthly show where like 3 or 4 or 5 of these records that you picked up from these samples, and then you just play them. Because like you said to me before, sharing is what this is really all about, isn't it?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, there's no point, you know, we're not these crazy, you know, amazing DJs who need to cover up or hide away what we're playing. You know, we love sharing what we play, and hence why Twitch is so great, because we can just say, here you go, you know, listen to this amazing music. And you sent me details about the Wham track, which is, I now own 2 Wham tracks and a George Michael record. Maybe 2
You've got to
George
get
Michael
the
records.
t-shirt now.
I have. Maybe we need to, turn it into like 45 Kids or something like that.
You introduced me to the documentary. Just saying.
I know. I don't know who it was who told me about it, but and it's great. It's such an amazing,
really good,
uplifting story. If no one's watched it, definitely check out the Wham documentary on Netflix. A year ago, 6 months ago, I couldn't have imagined myself saying that sort of sentence, but here we are. It just shows the journey that music can take you.
It was good. You know what though? That I can't remember who George Michael. It's Richard, isn't it? I can't remember his last name.
Andrew Ridgeley.
Andrew Ridgeley. Sorry, that's it. Yeah. I mean, how humble was that guy?
Exactly.
You know, yeah. I mean, he's the backbone of that whole thing, and he just kind of just let it happen. You know, is quite a few lessons just to be learned from his approach.
Just no ego at all. You know, because he could rightly have said, look, we started this together, you know, this is half me, you know, you're doing, you know, I want it to be this way. But he just was like, you know what, I can see that my friend is going to go bigger. He's going to achieve things. And as a true friend, I can't stand in the way of that because of what
amazing.
I mean,
not to spoil, I don't think it spoils it for anyone, but, you know,
not at all.
For me, that was like that's what made it amazing.
Yeah.
Just watching that, you know, unfold. It was brilliant.
So we talked about how you get to 45s. I guess the next sort of journey part of it is Twitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting onto Twitch and doing stream. But you were not quite Twitch. You were doing Mixcloud to start with, weren't you? With some other local DJs.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell us about your experience then, and then obviously we'll go through Twitch after that.
Yeah, so I mean that stemmed from the same party I met. In fact, Constance was just saying that was the week she came to the UK. That party. But apparently, my neighbour Mark, he knows quite a lot of DJs.
Right.
And there was probably at least 5 of us there, and one of them was a guy who's I don't know his background. I don't know how much experience he had, but his name was Martin. And he was really keen to start something up, and he started up. I gave him some advice, but you know, he's quite entrepreneurial, to be quite honest, and he just went on. You know, give him. It's like a dog with a bone. If you, Martin, if you're watching, you know, this is no disrespect. This is a compliment. He will just make things happen. And Charlie was there too, wasn't he? He's Martin Valentino. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, just keeping up with Constance chat there. So yeah, Martin is so entrepreneurial, and he just came up with this brand called Casamir and somehow made it work. And he got some really good DJs involved, and he did a charity stream. Yeah. And I must admit, that's one of the things I really like about online streaming, is where you can also, it's not about you, it's about something bigger than
than
the DJ. And so the music is just one way of giving people some free entertainment.
Yeah. it's the platform, isn't it? And then obviously it's like, right, come here to listen to good music, to this channel, to this raid event, to this show. This is our message. This is what we're doing. You know, we raise money for this. We do it because of why, you know. So yeah, that's another reason I love it. You know, I love the live streaming.
So the first thing he did an all-day event, a bit like you guys do with your raid trains and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you can't raid with Mixcloud.
Yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah.
But he did that, and that was my introduction to it, really. So it was all house music back then, and he had he's picked up a group, and we're still in a WhatsApp chat. We're still having a chat all the time. There's one guy that started his own label called Bare Bones. Go and check them out if you can. They're really good. I mean, I'm not one for promoting people, but you know, just as we're in the chat, you know, he does some really good house music, and you know, we're still talking to each other, and it's lovely. Although we don't do the mixes anymore, you know, you still got that community, and you still got that connection and that engagement.
Yeah, you've got that connection, and it goes, and we talk a lot about this on here. It's because we sort of see each other all the time, although we're not physically together. It's like the best, or the almost best of that you can have. So rather than me being in a room with you, you can come to my room and see what I'm doing, and then we can go somewhere else. And it's those friendships are really deep. So then when you meet in person, those friendships become deeper. And then when you go back online and not speaking to it doesn't matter that you don't speak for like a month or 2 months or whatever, because the friendship's there. And it's a deep connection, just like an old mate from, say, university or school or whatever. It's a similar thing, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's right. Definitely. And so, he got me into it. I'd never streamed before. I found it very daunting, quite frankly. But once you've done it, you kind of get the equipment and you learn. You do a couple of, you work out how you can improve things and stuff like that. I still wouldn't say I'm great. I see some of what you guys do with your videos, and God knows I have no idea how you do it.
I mean, don't put it down. You've got a nice, clean video feed, and you've got an above, and you've got a side. It looks great.
That's about all I've managed.
But you know, you don't have the time necessarily that we have to be on like all the time and all. No. You know, the reason we do it is because it's constantly evolving and we're constantly changing things as you're sort of doing it. But it's a nice, clean video. You know, it's great.
Good. I'm glad you like it.
And I've been there as well. That's the other thing. That's the other great thing about what I'm doing. I'm starting to go to these places where people stream from. So obviously I've been to yours. I've been to where Scotty streams in Edinburgh. I've been to T2 Funks. Ended up at Air Adams because the Manchester event was a washout.
I mean, how good was that though? The fact that this is it though. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't need to. And I must admit, you know, sometimes when you do a bar or something, it can feel a little bit flat compared to actually doing an online stream. Because you know, when you're online streaming, you literally can play what you like.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in a bar, you kind of have to read the crowd a bit and perhaps put that song on that you didn't really want to put on, but you're going to put it on because you know it's going to make people smile or whatever. Or whereas when you're at home, you don't care. You just play. You're playing for yourself. And if anyone wants to listen, that's great.
Exactly. It's that freedom.
Yeah.
It's an amazing freedom. We'll come back to that in a minute. There's a little thing that we can talk about, but we then probably move into the 45 kids. I can't quite remember how I came across. We must have been friends, and I must have seen Indie.
So, that's the other thing. You know, this Casimir, Waxworks was involved with Casimir for a while.
Okay. Interesting.
So he got involved, and Martin got in touch with him. I don't know how Martin networks in the way he does, but he's done some pretty amazing networking. But Waxworks was really involved in Casimir for a while, and he even did their website and everything for him. But just to come back onto Erin, you know, so or Indie Mix, so we I've never pushed her or any of my kids into music or anything like that, and they've never really expressed any interest in it. But one night we were, you know, because I've got it down the shed, I open up the shed doors, and if it's a nice summer night and we're having a drink in the garden, I put on a couple of records and, you know, just go back and forth once they've come to an end and put them on. But Indie Mix kind of wanted to know what I was doing and how it worked. So I said, oh, I
Yep.
just showed her through the mixer and said, you do this, do that, and you press this button to monitor it, and then this one, just slide it across when you want to go to the next track or mix it in. And so I said, you just get to the cue point, and made it really simple for her.
Yeah.
And we went down and had a had a drink. I could hear her. She was doing it. She was like playing one record after another. And the next thing I did, I just came in. I sort of said, didn't let her know, but I just hit the stream button on the Casimir account, and the watchers slowly grew up to 100.
Wow,
that night.
that's amazing.
And it was amazing. She was just playing. She loved it. She was out there for about an hour and a half. Criztoz, how hard it is to.
That's a long time.
And I just left her to it. And we watched it get up to 100, and I was like, right, okay, that's enough now. Right, it's time for you to go to bed. We had to literally cut her off, and then that was it. She could do it, and she kind of got a buzz off the fact that she got that many followers and watchers, and she really enjoyed it. And then that was it, really. And just I can't remember how we got in touch with you, though.
I don't know, because it was. I think I'd seen. I know that I definitely remember Matt making a website, so I remember that link. So whether I went through there,
I know what it was. I think I know now. So Matt from Waxworks, he did her off of that. He tuned into that, and off of that, within an hour, he sent us a logo.
Yeah.
Of Indie Mix. So Waxworks made a logo for her.
Yeah.
And then I think probably it might have been Constance's birthday. We went to her birthday, and you might have seen us post pictures from that.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah. Because Erin did DJ at that, didn't she?
She did, yeah.
Birthday. Yeah. Yeah,
so
cool.
It might have been that linked us.
Yes. So then she got involved with the 45 Kids, which has been great, and she's done quite a few now, I think, including Zizi's birthday and a Halloween, and the parent and kid. We did a parent and kid one as well, didn't we? And Christmas,
she's probably got about 5 under her belt.
Yeah, it's actually when you go through it like that, you're like, actually, we have done a hell of a lot. It's because we did Christmas, didn't we, for my birthday, and then we did my birthday party. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's brilliant to see, and it's also now great to see them getting out and DJing at events, because they had met before, because we came to your house and you showed us the studio and stuff, and they hung out and they got on really well, which was cool. But then I think this was the first time they DJed together, wasn't it? I think in real life,
other than the live streaming, they've not actually played out together.
But it was amazing. But yeah, here we go. Let's have a quick look. And there they are.
Look at them.
I know.
Look at those t-shirts, Criztoz. They're amazing.
They came out.
You can't really see it in that picture, but they're glittery.
They're all sparkly. Yeah,
they're amazing.
But yeah, it was great to see them play. Just because they had something to do. They knew they were there. They were part of it. And I think that made it more important. It's like if we play at a festival, because you're part of it, you feel more to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was quite nice. Well, they were headlining the DJ tent. Yeah, we're just sort of the warm up and the after party. But it was great to see them. But it's interesting seeing them play music. But again, we come back to this live streaming, and I think Zizi likes. It's difficult. I think she likes DJing out when she's at school. And obviously she knows the people. And similarly, Indie, I could see knew quite a lot of the people there. Yeah. So that probably helped her confidence. So again, it's something interesting to sort of do that. But it was still great and a brilliant experience that they could play together on the same bill, and then go off and play in teacup rides and mega slides and eating far too much sugar. But it was
they just connected straight away again, even though they've not seen each other or really hung out or done anything together. They know they've got this connection through music, and then they just got this common ground which enabled them just to go off and explore together and have really normal conversations. It was lovely to watch.
It was great. And it's similar to us as well, though, isn't it? Because the reason I organise the events that we do is to get people together, because there's only so much connection over text and over streaming and all the rest of it. That human connection and having that half an hour, perhaps, although we were quite busy, to just chat and talk is just great, and it brings people together, and it's like
Yeah.
brings Ed in. I don't think you've met Ed before, have you?
No, I've not. I'm
No,
glad I did
so
though.
he's a
It's
great
good to see you,
guy,
Ed.
and it's great to get Ed in. And it's just again that common ground of music and just bringing people together
Yeah,
like
definitely.
old friends. Yeah. Let's have a quick look at who else we had. Sorry, we haven't really mentioned it. It was a Broadfest over in Worthing. You mentioned it briefly, but just in case anyone's listening, Broadfest 2023 got invited to do the DJ tent, which was there you go.
There's Ed.
Yeah,
With the
there is Ed.
sunshine beaming down on him. Look at that.
And look at that sun. You know, I couldn't believe it when you sent me the photo and you were like, look, it's going to be a great day. And then here we go. There is you and Ed. And we've got Tris in the background.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we must shout out the Get It Together boys. I mean, that's another. You put me in touch with them. Thanks, Criztoz.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, just before we move on, I know I'm sort of hijacking at the moment. There they are. So these guys DJ every Friday down at the Brewhouse Project, and I went down there, and if any of them are away, they always invite me to play. So it was great to return the favour and be able to sort of say, look, you always ask me to play. Now it's time to ask if you want to play. And they reciprocated, and they came down, and they were, both played really good sets for an hour and a half. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, it was great. And then obviously there's one of me and you.
Yeah.
And then the 5 male DJs. But I think the other interesting thing is we're all dads, and for us that's another connection that we've all got kids.
Definitely.
Obviously, we've got kids that DJ together, but it's great that 5 dads can hang out, and this sort of goes back to Dad Le Soul as well, and what Dan Flanagan's doing and all the rest of it. Because again, I'm connected through them. We've done stuff as are the
Simon on the left there. He does a lot with Dad Le Soul as well.
Yeah,
he does a lot with them.
Yeah, and they did Get It Together. Used to do the Top Rocking Beats.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's right.
We did one in Eastbourne as well. So yeah, it's great to sort of connect with all of that. Good evening, George Semper. And there's one of me and Ed. And it was the second time that I got to meet Ed because he came down to our Joy Revolution. So that was great. And what else have we got? There is a couple more photos. There's this one, which is quite appropriate, seeing Star Wars Day. Now that was pretty cool. I thought I was trying to explain that to Claire when I got home. I was like, it'd be quite cool to have a few more. I don't know if he was the only one, but a few more characters like that, because as they're walking around, people are wanting to take selfies and stuff. So that would be quite cool, having some other characters, a bit like Comic-Con sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You could definitely do more of that.
Yeah,
there must be a lot of them out there.
Oh yeah. We go to a thing in Eastbourne called Wintercom, and it's basically like comic book stuff. And they've got like workshops for the kids. They've got like people dressed up, and they've got food and drink and all the rest of it. And that's pretty cool. So potentially they could theme it, couldn't they? They could say, right, next year is Star Wars. Have fancy dress like pirates or space or something like that. That's something else. You might want to suggest to him, which might be quite cool. Right, I think we've got a couple more photos. We have got this one. They're pretty cool. I mean, look at that.
Sort of our mates in the background.
Yeah, that's
just
brilliant.
Right above the speaker. They were all our mates from school and whatnot. Quite a good turnout.
It's so great to be able to invite them along and them to come and support. And again, that's part of community, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we have this one, which I was like,
that sums them up perfectly, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's as well. So I mean, that's a proud moment, and that's a moment that we'll remember for sort of forever. So whatever happens, if we play or don't play again, there it's having those memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Is so important.
I don't know where she's going to go with it, Criztoz. Who knows? But if we've created a memory that they can cherish and look back on, that's good enough, right?
But it's good experience. I don't know. I mean, I think Zizi will do some DJing, but I think she's now moving towards more digital, wanting to play the music she's into, like BTS and Blackpink and these Korean bands, which is cool. So we've been doing the parent and kid, almost like her playing music to me and me playing music to her, like digital this side. So I think she's going to end up probably going that route, which is cool. But the 45 kids, I'm not precious about it. At the end of the day, it's a movement in a way.
Yeah,
it's not just about people who play 45s, you know, and if
Yeah.
the kids end up going up, you know, they'd always be able to say, we were part of the 45 kids, and, you know,
Exactly
and
that. You
again,
know, that
yeah,
doesn't change, right?
no, it doesn't. And there's no reason to say, right, you know, in a few years' time, if we do bigger events, that it's like, you know, we've got, say, ZZ playing jungle or whatever in one room. We've got the disco stuff that Erin's playing. You know, we've got some, like, whatever the kids can play. And it's just giving them an opportunity so
Yeah.
that if they want to carry it on, they've then had that experience and they can say to wherever, whatever festival they want to go to or whatever, if they're going to carry on,
Yeah.
I've done this and I've done that. Here we go. So,
And you know what, though? I mean, even if they move on to digital, because Erin's actually expressed an interest in
CDJs.
some more controller or something like that.
Yeah.
I think she's quite interested by that because she has had a go on my CDJs. I do
Yeah.
have some dirty CDJs for my house MP3s if I need to do it. But you know what? They started on vinyl, and not many kids these days have that opportunity. And
Exactly. And it's not going to go away because ultimately, you know, we're always going to say to them,
yeah.
it's like a library we're building, isn't it? Really?
Well, I have told her I can't take that with me, so that will end up
Exactly.
being hers.
No, but it's almost like there was that thing, wasn't it? Bruce Willis, I think, was trying to put in his will about he wanted to give away his iTunes collection that he'd amassed over the years. He'd spent however much on it. And basically, in the terms and conditions, you can't do that because only you can own it. So he couldn't leave that to his kids. So at least we've spent a lot of money on records, but
Yeah.
these are theirs.
Yeah,
And whether
exactly.
they do anything or just, you know,
Hasn't that
it's a
been kind
library,
of
isn't it?
overwritten by the invention of Apple Music now? I mean, iTunes,
Yeah,
it's all on there
exactly.
anyway.
But it is just building them a library, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
if I just gave ZZ like a hard drive, oh, here's a hard drive of music I used to listen to, half of which I probably haven't ever listened to because it's
Yeah,
sitting there.
exactly.
Whereas I know I've played pretty much almost all of these records at some point.
Yeah,
And she might remember a memory when she plays it back. So it's
yeah,
it's cool.
definitely.
And we'll see where they go. Right. So Broadfest was great. And you've said that they were into potentially inviting us back, and you're going
Yeah,
to the sort of debrief meeting in a couple
yeah,
of weeks' time.
yeah. I
So
mean, the fact that
that's
they're
pretty
even
cool.
the fact that they've even bothered to invite us to a debrief meeting means we must have done something right.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, they would have seen it's about being professional. You turned up when you said you were going to turn up. You did exactly what you said you were going to do. We provided entertainment and different entertainment,
Yeah,
and there was people there. You know, up till about 6:30. I think I left
yeah.
about 6:30. What? How long did you end up playing for after that?
Yes, I went on to 7:30, just about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's cool. You know, that's a whole day from midday.
Yeah.
You know, full seven
Yeah.
and a half hours.
It's quite funny. I was packing up. Do you remember that guy that he was just going for it right at the end?
Oh yeah,
There was
yeah,
a guy just dancing his socks off.
yeah.
He came back when me and Erin were packing up. He came running
Right.
back. He goes, "Oh, it's finished." He said, "Oh, I just missed the music because I was watching the band." He was gutted.
Yeah. Oh, bless him.
Yeah,
But
never
that's what being
mind.
a festival's about, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, you've got different, and it was great that there was two pretty different choices of music.
yeah, definitely.
But I think, yeah, like we said, probably a bigger marquee maybe next year, or possibly like I was telling you about Suckerfest at the beginning, like rent some sort of structure, like he had an igloo,
Yeah.
and maybe have like projections onto it as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, we can do more of lighting next time. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't have any time to
Oh no,
get
no,
that
no, I know.
sorted or squared away. You know,
But if
there's lots of things that
yeah,
given the time and everything. I think what I really loved about the event is that all the DJs brought something different as well. So
yeah,
we all have a slightly different genre. And that's the beauty of it. It
yeah.
doesn't matter what the genre is. It's not like, oh, it's got to be house or it's got to be that. It's like, come and play whatever you want.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what I love about
you
it.
also know because the sets aren't long, you know, they're about an hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes like we do 45 minutes or 30 minutes, that you know, you've got an hour or whatever it is to entertain with your collection of music that
Yeah.
you've got. And there's also a little bit of an element of I need to try and bring something that I know the other DJs aren't going to have.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a little bit of that, but because we all play different genres, I know that if I brought a load of reggae, you're not going to have hardly any of those probably, or you might have some. And similarly, I'm not going to have the disco in the house that you've got.
Criztoz, I'm just going to stop you there. I've got somebody knocking on the door. I think I know who that might be.
Okay.
You just go take that. Don't go see out. Come on, quick. Go and say hello. Another room.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Erin. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
So, as you're here, special guest, tell us.
Fresh out the shower by the looks of things.
tell us about Broadfest. And what did you think of it?
I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, and what did you like most about it?
I found me and Zizi hanging out was quite fun.
Yeah, that was cool. And obviously, there's this photo of you guys there, and then we showed this one as well.
Constance said, "Hi, Aaron."
Yeah,
Constance,
but I mean, this was really cool. I mean, that's all your friends from school, isn't it?
Yeah, and some out of school friends.
Yeah. No, so that must have been a lot of fun. So
yeah,
I think
some people from your dance class as well, didn't you? There,
one person.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next year, if we do it again, we can invite. There's a few people in Worthing that we know as well, but they just couldn't make this one. So again, with a bit more notice, they could come down. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and you guys are DJing again in November at Rare Kind Records. That's going to be pretty cool.
About that.
No.
Oh, I
that
thought
might
you told
be breaking news, Criztoz.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said you had told.
It's not a secret. It just has not come into play yet, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, and Constance K says they're going to come. So yeah, so it's on the 4th of November at Rare Kind Records, and it's going to be really short, about 15 minutes each for you and Zizi, and hopefully Double P, and then Arlo's coming over from France, so he's doing a little mini tour of the Southeast. He's playing, I think, in Southampton at Overdraft Records, and then he's playing at a record shop, Little Lion, I think, in Brixton.
Oh wow, amazing! Yeah, I mean, he's doing so well, isn't he? He's flying.
Yeah. It's good, and it's good, I think, for them to see this other DJ. But yeah, cool. Well,
I think great. It's only 15 minutes. You can probably not take any records and just buy what you want to play.
Well, yeah. Go to the shop. But I think what we're going to do is probably go and get some pizza before, and then just go along and play in the record shop. Yeah, no, it's going to be fun, I think. It's going to be really good. And here we go. Double P saying, Constance, we can finally meet. And Theodore, of course, the youngest of our 45 kids, Theodore, is excited to see his mate, so he's going to be DJing soon.
He's always got a smile on his face, that boy. I've never seen a happier baby.
He sure has. Cool. Right, I'm going to let you guys go, but I'm going to try and find who's streaming at the moment, and we'll raid in. But have you got anything else coming up? Have you got some more gigs coming up, or more events at the Brew House with Get It Together?
No, nothing really planned. Although there might be a bar in Worthing that I get involved with off the back of the event, but obviously I haven't made contact with them yet. But we'll see how that goes. Might amass to nothing. You know what these things can be like. Yeah. But nonetheless, we were next to a cocktail bar, and they approached us and said, "Oh, we don't like the music. We'd be interested in involving you." So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, and again, it just opens a conversation, doesn't it? And you know, if there's something there that can be done, then cool. If not, they might know someone else and
look at its appropriateness for a We Heart 45's event, of course.
Yeah, definitely. But I think certainly Broadfest has got potential, and the fact that they're calling you in and saying come and have a chat sounds like they're open for it. And there's a whole year to
think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think all we need to do is work out, right, this is the sort of thing we'd like to have. This is what we think it's going to cost. Have you got that budget, or can you raise that budget? And then try and pull off something really cool.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, you know, if it's going to be end of September again, we got so lucky with the weather. It's unbelievable. You know how wet it was in the week leading up to that event. it could have easily been raining that day. They need to make sure that they've got some sort of backup and protection so it can still go ahead. And I think, like you're saying, if we can do a marquee or something like that, like an enclosed marquee, rain or shine, there'll be DJing and dancing. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah, one thing I want to say, Criztoz, is Ed, I know you're watching. Thanks so much for coming down, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
Your set was amazing. If anyone hasn't heard, by the way, I'm putting all the sets on Mixcloud, so you can listen to what everyone played. So Ed, I've sort of showcased Ed today. It'll be the Get It Together DJs tomorrow, but just keep an eye on my Instagram channel. There'll be links to my Mixcloud account, and just give it all a listen, because Ed's set was brilliant. It really set the scene for the day. So cheers, mate. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. And take it easy, guys. If you just hang on there for a second, I'll just end the stream. But thank you so much for being on the show. Benny Gogz and Indie Mix.
Thank you very much. See you guys. Thanks for popping in and having a listen. Appreciate it.
Definitely.